She's all right when you get to know her. This is my podcast, and it takes you from your restrictive, toxic, life-limiting 9 to 5 into a life on your terms, full of freedom and flexibility as a self-employed virtual assistant. So whether this is your first introduction into the possibility of becoming a VA, or perhaps you've been doing a bit of Googling already, I'm going to get rid of the overwhelm, rid of the self-doubt, and show you that this life is possible. I've not just started this rodeo, you know. I'm Catherine Gladwyn, and I've been doing what you think is impossible since 2015. Shall we get started? Oh, hello. I think this one's going to be quite popular because a lot of us, when we start out as a virtual assistant, do fear failure. I don't really want to say the word failure because if you don't make it, you're not a failure. There could be any number of reasons why you don't make it, and I'm going to address some of them now in this podcast. Now, it's going to be inevitable that I will accidentally use the word fail or failure, mainly because the vocabulary of me is I just messed it up then, didn't I? Is quite limited, but also at the moment I can't think of another word. I think fail or failure is a rather deep word, and it can lead to regret and things like that, and questioning yourself, and that's not why what I want people to feel like. But I've got to be honest, some people don't make it as a virtual assistant. And there can be any number of reasons. And it's not because you're not clever enough, you're not capable enough. It's usually that there are just some very tiny tweaks that you need to make. Now, in my Facebook group, every so often I'll go on a search and rescue for somebody that isn't getting clients and they feel like they've been doing all the things. I just pick and choose somebody at random. I don't do it if I'm asked because I can only do it if I've got the time. And I do it for free as well. So it often is the same recurring things. And when I go through the list of reasons why virtual assistants fail, don't make it, don't succeed, it's all really rather negative, isn't it? But you will probably look at your own business and think, oh, I'm already doing that, so I'll just keep on doing it, right? If I give you an alternative. Or you might be like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So if I do this, then, because I know how it feels, because you don't get any bites for ages, do you? And it's like, am I doing the right thing? They say it'll happen eventually, but how long do I have to sit here doing this before it does happen? And you're not sure if something needs tweaking. So I really think that this episode is going to bring so much. Well, I hope so anyway. So I have got a list, and I still haven't managed to secure Simon Mayo to do a countdown for me. Apparently he's busy and he won't do it for free. And I said to him, well, I don't know how you work, Simon, so I'm not prepared to pay you. And I think you should do a free test for me and I will give him exposure. But no, he still didn't want to do it. Anyway, into why VAs sometimes fail, don't succeed, don't make it, thrive. I'm just going to block out the word fail with a beep, I think. Okay, number 1 on the list is inconsistent marketing. Now, I'm not thinking of anybody when I say anything in this. I say things because it is a recurring issue. And if you feel seen, that's a good thing because you know that you can change things up. So, honestly, I have had people say to me, I'm struggling to get clients. And I will ask, what have you been doing so far? Because there's no point me going in and saying, okay, well, what you need to do is this, 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 and this, because they might already be doing it. So I always say, what have you been doing so far? And it's usually nothing. So that kind of terminology needs to change. Are you really struggling to get clients? Or have you not yet tried to get clients and you want to know how? So not just inconsistent marketing, but no bloody marketing. I've even had people, I've been doing this for years, so it's always more than one person. I've had people come to me and say, I just launched my VA business and I have not had any interest at all. Some of them launched 24 hours previously on their private Facebook page. Now, some of you might laugh at that, but this is the reality for some people. When you come from an employed environment where you just see the marketing team as people that sit on beanbags and talk about staying in your own lane and constantly say going forward, like, well, we weren't going to go backwards, were we? You know, you think, what do they even do? But they're bloody busy. They're the people that ensure you're still employed because the employer is still selling whatever it is they sell to make money. And now you are in charge of marketing. So, first thing you need to do is get a beanbag, because marketing doesn't work unless you've got a beanbag. Secondly, but no, marketing has to be done all the time. Just think about your marketing team in your 9 till 5. You know, the bigger your company, the more people were in that department. So your company is small, your business is small. It's just you, but you got to do that marketing as if you're doing it for a big company. It's got to be all the time, and it's got to be over a period of time. Now, I'll give you an example, right? My mate used to work in sales in our local newspaper, and she used to, do cold calling and that to get local businesses to advertise in the paper. And people had to sign up for a minimum of 6 weeks advertising. And a lot of the businesses would be like, it's just because you want to make money and all of this and all of that. And it's not. It's because she knew that people, potential buyers, potential customers, potential clients have to keep seeing something to start to build that trust. You know, now this is very stereotypical, right? But we get leaflets through here because I live in it's a tree lined street. Almost all of us have got trees in our gardens, very mature. And so we get a lot of leaflets through our doors for landscaping and tree cutting and things like that. And we got one the other day, and it was while we were all stood out the front, and my neighbour went, "Look at this. Only a mobile number. Couldn't look any more dodgy, could it?" And I went, "To be fair, we haven't got a landline." And he went, "Oh no, nor way." But it's like he was immediately like, "Ooh." But if he was to see their van going around, and if he was to see other people using them, and maybe they put a leaflet through again in 6 months' time or 3 months' time or something like that, then it would start to build that trust. So people need to keep seeing things. So when we say consistent marketing, it's got to be over a long period of time. Now, you got to think your marketing is on a much smaller scale than, say, Amazon. So you haven't got the budget to be doing TV commercials. You can't have your logo and tagline on vans in every town, every city. You can't do billboard advertising. You can't get married in Italy to somebody that looks like Lauren Sanchez and the world's press are there to promote you and your business. So you're doing it on a much smaller scale, and that's usually by social media, or you're using the templates from my VA starter guide, or you're speaking to friends and family. But you need to keep doing that so that they know that this wasn't just like, I know I'm going to be a VA and I'm going to make lots of money. And then you didn't bother after week 2. So it has to be all the time. You can't just post once and then ghost everybody. You don't want to be ghosted, so you can't ghost everybody else. Now, also, that then leads into no audience building. Now, many times, the people that will say, like, I'm struggling to get clients, I'll go and look at their LinkedIn, and they've perhaps got 50 connections. Now, the conversion rate for people that don't know you is 1 to 3%. That's very, very small. So out of those 50 people, what is 1%? 5? 5 people may be potential clients. However, if they're not seeing your marketing, then there's even less of a chance that they're going to be your potential clients. So you need to also be building an audience. And there's often excuses that I find, and the things that, oh yeah, but I'm finding it difficult. I don't know who to connect with. You just need to connect with people that are small business. If you've got the VA starter guide, you know all of this, or my how to get clients using LinkedIn guide. It's all in there. Nothing's duplicated across the guides, by the way, but it's all in there to show you who to connect with. It's basically small business owners like us, not VAs, who clearly haven't got employees and could possibly want what we're offering. You've got the templates in the VA starter guide that you can send them emails and things like that. So you just need to be clicking connect, 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 connect. Just keep doing it. Some people will ignore you. Some people will connect straight away. Some people will connect and then try and sell you something and, whatever. They're in business too. Now, if you've got an audience of whatever size and you are marketing, you also need to be engaging with them. Now, engaging is commenting on other people's posts. And I do get people saying, oh, I don't know what to comment. Again, that's in my How to Get Clients Using LinkedIn guide. But you just need to, this is the transformation from corporate to self-employed. You can now totally be yourself. Obviously, if you're still employed, then you wouldn't be putting stuff like I'd put on LinkedIn this morning. Let me try and find it now. Yeah. Somebody that my best friend's in business with, he put a post out saying, did I miss the briefing where fluff was declared a banned substance? Because overnight, every website I see is proudly declaring itself no fluff. Now, I put a post out this morning saying my courses contain no fluff. So I've gone right for his jugular. And I said, are you talking to me? I'll meet you outside in 10 minutes. I'm bringing knuckle dusters. And he replied, see you there, I'm bringing snacks. Now, if I was still employed, my employer might think that she's inciting a fight, but I'm not. I know him through my best friend, and I know, in inverted commas, quite loosely actually, I know of him. But you can just be yourself. You can share your sense of humor, share your personality, share your likes and dislikes, and you will then attract the most amazing people because they're just like you. But you need to be engaging on posts. Uh, if you say stuff like this is a great post, or that was insightful, it looks like you've got an AI robot doing it. But just go through, let me look through LinkedIn just quickly while I'm on here. So somebody's put, son had a fractured ankle for 9 months. We were told it was just a sprain, and now he's in hospital. Parents, trust your instincts. Keep pushing. You know your child best. Oh my God, I can really resonate with that. So I would probably comment on such an important message. I'd probably say something like, such an important message. Not only do we know our children the best, but we know ourselves the best as well. We really do have to keep pushing sometimes. And that would show that I've got empathy for her, I understand, and it would just spark relationships. She would then probably reply to it, or, and I might send her a connection request as well. But you can put anything, it doesn't always have to be about sales. You just can be yourself, and it's so much more freeing. Now, number 1 was inconsistent marketing. Number 2 was no audience building. This is another thing. Let me go back to number 2 again, because no audience building, this is why I say you can't just have an Instagram account as a virtual assistant, because it is really hard to build an audience on Instagram of potential clients. What you'll find is you'll mostly get other VAs following you. So go careful. If you really just want to be on Instagram, then you need to be mindful that building the audience can be very difficult. Now, I've lost count of which number because I've jumped. So 3 was no engagement. My numbers now go 1, 2, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, Christ. Okay, number 4, possibly. So I've put this as poor quality posts now, or poor quality marketing. And that sounds kind of harsh. And it's like, even I would have turned around in my early days and gone, hang on, mate, I don't know anything about marketing, so don't be rude. But not being rude, but you, it's like that saying, isn't it? I'm not being funny, but my mother-in-law always used to say that. I'm not being funny, but I'm just about to say something really rude. Yeah. So always look at your marketing. Go through and look at your marketing from time to time, and look at it as if you're a small business owner that's never worked with a virtual assistant, but you're busy, you're overwhelmed, your mate uses a virtual assistant, and you're really kind of thinking about it. And you just want to know more. The key word there is that they're busy. They cannot be scrolling through loads of content to find out what it is you do. So, if you've just put a graphic out there with the list of stuff you do, is somebody going to read all of that? It's highly unlikely. And also, if people search for certain terms like admin support or email marketing support, the text in a graphic isn't going to come up in those search results. It just doesn't. It's going to come up if you've put it in your headline, or if you've put it actually in one of your posts. You've written it, you've typed it as the content for the post. So think about what your post is saying. What do you want the reader to do? What do you want them to do at the end of reading your post? And also, more importantly, how are you going to get them to read your post? Think of everything as like starting a conversation and trying to get somebody's attention. My post this morning on LinkedIn was, I got stopped in the street yesterday by who I thought was a total stranger. She grabbed my arm and looked me dead in the eye and said, and it makes you want to read more, doesn't it? It's a bit like, ooh. So think about, and that's called a hook. Think about the hook, what you're hooking people in with. If your content sounds very corporate and a bit formal with no personality coming through, it can look like ChatGPT has written it, which is absolutely fine if you're using ChatGPT, but add your own personality to it. ChatGPT is not a marketing expert. It's doing its best and it does very well, but it still always needs help. So we believe, because we haven't got Simon Mayo here to help, and I've messed up the number, and I believe this is number 5. So this is often one that makes people's brow furrow, unless they've had Botox. Jumping into discovery calls too soon. Hey, what do you mean? Wow. If you've got your discovery call link on your website, I am actually a big advocate for taking it off. I don't want potential clients having a discovery call link until I have spoken to them by email or DM or however. Because once I started doing that, once I took my discovery call link away, I no longer got ghosted. They can't ghost you if they haven't booked a call. The trouble is, because it's a free call, there's no human interaction. There's no, I don't know, what's the word? They don't feel any relationship there. They don't know you. They haven't been able to get to like you. There's nothing there. They don't feel any emotion. So not turning up makes no difference to them. I mean, there are people that don't turn up for doctor's appointments. They don't ring and cancel it. So a discovery call with someone they've never even spoken to, never met, or anything like that means nothing. So my advice is to always invite people to email you. Make sure that as much as possible is on your website. So the services you provide, clear pricing, not from £40 or £30 plus or anything like that, and invite them to email you if they'd like to find out more, if they've got any questions. And then in those emails, you can make sure that what they need help with is something that you can do, because imagine how awkward it is once you get on the call and you can't do it. It's like, and you also feel like, I can't do what they want to do. That's another client I've lost. Do I need to train in what it is they wanted me to do? Is that why I'm losing clients? No, it's not. It's just because you're not qualifying them before you speak to them. Before they get on the call, before they're given your discovery call link, you also need to make sure that they know what your prices are, because that is another reason why people either don't turn up because they've booked the call and then looked at your prices, or it gets awkward on the call and they're like, oof, well, I don't think you'll be getting that. And then it makes you question yourself again. And you shouldn't be, because it's not that you're not worth what you're charging. It's just that they can't afford you and you don't need these negative interactions. So a big, big thing is to remove the discovery call link from your website and only give it to people that you've qualified. If you want to know the whole process that enabled me to, I was getting 5 to 6 inquiries a week and I converted like 96, I think. I worked out all the stats. It was something like 96% of inquiries I converted into paying clients. Worked with them 4-5 years, and I've put all of it, the inquiry to onboarding process, because I know a lot of you worry about the onboarding process, and we'll talk about that in a minute, into my inquiry to onboarding training. And it's only an hour's training, and I think it's 30 quid. And like, that's less than your hourly rate if you're now charging the average at 35. So you'll get it back with your first client. Now, the onboarding process can be another way that you can lose clients. If you're giving them too much to look at, if you're asking too many questions, by questions I mean like you're asking stuff that just isn't relevant to the job that you want to do. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something. What's your favourite airline? Which airline do you prefer to use? And they're like, I thought you were just going to create an Excel spreadsheet for me. So just think about your, in inverted commas, onboarding process. Literally all they have to do is sign the contract, sign your booking form, and fill in the data protection form themselves. You fill in the booking form. All of this is from Coffee Clatch, by the way, if you're using Coffee Clatch's contracts. And don't forget, because I'm an affiliate, you can get 10% off with code CATH10, CATH10. So yeah, just make sure your onboarding process isn't too difficult. Maybe you're giving them a Google sheet to fill in or something, and just make sure it's not too wordy. Make sure it's really easy, but also make sure it's really relevant to what it is you're going to be helping them with. Now, this is one that sometimes worries people, but let me ask you, if you were to be approached by, let's do this whole scenario. You've been in business 5 years. You're the main breadwinner. Without your income, you wouldn't be living the life that you do now. You've moved house, you've got a bigger house, you've got a bigger mortgage, you've got a wonderful car, but it is on credit, and it's all your business that enables the children to be able to have after school activities and have this bigger house in this lovely area and blah, blah, blah. But you are burning out. So you need a VA to help you, and you're trying to find one. Now, you will be giving some of your current profit to that VA to do what she needs to do for your business to help you. Would you, if you were that business owner, choose someone who hasn't got a website and they've just got a Gmail or Hotmail email address? Would you? I mean, I had an email the other day from Pharmacy to You, and I thought, hang on a minute, I've unsubscribed from this. So I got my GDPR head on and started to get a bit angry, looked at the email address, and it was from a Gmail account. And I thought, well, that's obviously not Pharmacy to You. It's just somebody trying to get my details. So immediately it was like, well, that's obviously spam. So if somebody was to email you and offer to completely change your life by offering you virtual assistant support, which sounds wonderful, but it's a Gmail email address, you're never going to meet them. They've got no website, so you can't even see a picture of them to see if they're even real. Nah, you're all right. Nah. Thanks anyway. But yeah, it looks like I do need a VA. I'll go and find one that's got a website. Yes, you can get clients without a website. Absolutely. I've taken on clients that haven't seen my website, but you're not going to get a lot of clients consistently unless your first client is some influencer or celebrity. And the reason for that is because if somebody with lots of kudos and a big following works with you and then goes and recommends you, then they are giving over that reassurance to potential clients that you can like her, you can trust her, she is good, she works with me, and look at me, I'm thriving and I'm shouting about her. And that is how some people have got clients, because they've got a celeb or an influencer or something like that. But without a website, it gives the impression that you're perhaps not very serious about your business. And like I said, all the spammy things and things like that. And it's not a very sustainable system to just rely on referrals. You need to get yourself on Google for a start. Now, while LinkedIn does have an incredible SEO presence on Google, LinkedIn isn't yours. People lose their accounts for posting the most weirdest things. Like I said, I've put knuckle dusters on there today, so I might be gone by lunchtime. But the website is yours. So even if you did lose your social media account and it takes you 3 weeks to get it back, it doesn't matter so much, because you've still got a presence on Google. You've still got your website. Okie dokie. Number whatever. No like or trust factor. Briefly mentioned this. I've mentioned this in other podcasts, but people must be able to get to know, like, and trust you. And that's why we need to post things about ourselves as well and what we're doing. And it can be humorous. It doesn't need to be about business. It gets conversations going better than anything. And you don't then need to worry like, oh, well, all of my personal posts get loads of engagement, but if I put a sales post out, I get like 1 like. It's fine. People are still seeing it. But how many times do you ever comment on something that you've bought, or that you're going to buy or something like that? Bought that, gonna get that one. Keep seeing this advert, gonna buy it. You don't, do you? People save them, they see them, they make a note, they go onto your website, they have a look, they bookmark it. You don't know what people are doing, but I can promise you they are looking. Now, rumour has it, this is number 8. Hiding behind professionalism. Okay. Now, we've all got to be, yes, you've got to be professional, but it's absolutely fine to be saying, some fun stuff like, you know, I was going to post the other day and I forgot, but I was going to be like, do kids really need all these weeks off holiday? It doesn't really set them up for how work's going to be. And maybe that's why so many of us struggle with that transition from education to 9 till 5, because suddenly you go from how many weeks holiday do they get? 50 a year, something like that. You go from that to, if you're lucky, 4 weeks holiday, and they come at a cost. It's like, oh, and I just thought I might talk about that. So that's just a thought. You can phrase things however you want, but somebody suggested once, and I honestly can't remember who it is, but if I do, I will put it in the show notes. But while you're writing your content, wear your pajamas. It makes you feel more relaxed, as opposed to wearing a suit or something like that. Your audience doesn't want stiff. Your intended audience are small business owners. And they like to work with people, like I said, that are just like them, because it makes it so much easier. You will sometimes get somebody, my friend Jo posted the other week, it was an AI picture, and she does these things to wind people up anyway. But this guy got really narky with her, John C., his name was, about how unprofessional it is and that it should be on Facebook and things like that. He's entitled to his opinion, but he's also helped her, because there isn't any way she'd ever want to work with him. Just learn to be yourself. It is unbelievably empowering. It is really lovely. It does take time, but you'll get it. You will get it. Now, number something, you've got to treat this like a business and not a job. So this is more along the lines of like when you kind of start with a client, if you like, or maybe you might be doing this on discovery calls. Again, the inquiry to onboarding training helps with this. But if you're waiting for instructions, or you come across on the call more like somebody that is reactive and is going to need to be micromanaged and told what to do, then it could be that potential client isn't going to benefit from having a VA. So those feelings of lack of confidence and that can sometimes come because you're still in employee mindset where you need to do as you're told, if you like, and you can't keep shouting out, "It's above my pay grade, Janet." If the terms of your contract change at work, I'll sign them, don't worry, I'll sign them. You're just grateful for the job. What you've got to remember as a virtual assistant is you are an equal, absolute equal to the people that you're working with. There's no hierarchy. If you've got ideas in how to do what they need help with that are going to be more efficient, boom, go in there. Be proactive. And if they want you to take over, say, their email inbox, they want you to be doing inbox management for them, you tell them what they need to do in order for you to get access. If there's any part of that you can do yourself, do it yourself. Make it as easy as possible for people. They're already busy. They're already overwhelmed. If you were to just go to them in this instance or in this example and say to them, yeah, give me access to your inbox and I'll get started as soon as possible. And they might be like, well, I don't know how to do that and I'm really busy, so I won't do it. And then you think, oh, they haven't done it. It's been a week now. Do I chase them? And then if you were to chase them and say, Yeah, just remind you, I can't get started until I got access to your inbox. And they might be like, I know, I was going to do it. And now you, instead, take it all away from them and say, right, there's just 3 steps that you need to do to give me access to your inbox. 1, 2, 3, and then we can get started. If you want, we can do it on a Zoom screen share if you like, whatever's easier. And just give them minimal information, only things they need to know to get started, and boom. And they would be like, oh my God, can I pay you more money per hour? Yeah. Pricing yourself out of fear, questioning your self-worth. Now, undercharging is a massive thing because you think to yourself, well, I've not been a VA very long, so I can't charge what everybody else is charging. Now, look, right? Why? Nobody is paying you for how long you've been in business. They're paying you for the change that you make, for the outcome that your services give them, for the enormous amount of headspace you clear for them. It's invaluable. Our potential clients are earning well in excess of what we charge an hour. So when they're paying us £35 an hour, they're able to make their hourly rate because they're no longer having to do the tasks that we've taken off them. And undercharging does make people think, okay, because every business owner knows that people don't get paid for the time that they've been in business. They get paid for the job they do. So if you undercharge, it would make people think, so she's not very good at the services she provides then. And you're only offering services that you're competent and confident at. So you must charge the going rate. And it doesn't matter how many times I say this, but I promise you, anybody you give a discount to or free work to always ends up a nightmare. I don't know why. It's probably one of 2 things, or maybe both of them together, but because we've done a discount or given it for free, we kind of feel a bit pissed off that they're asking for more or that they're being a bit judgy. But I don't know why it comes from their side. I think usually it's because they can't actually afford us. So this discount or freebie was fantastic and they want to squeeze as much out of it as possible. I don't know. So this could be number 11 or 10. Waiting for perfection. Did I even say that word right? Waiting for perfection before starting. So you probably things like seen like done is perfect, things like that. I mean, nothing's ever going to be perfect, and things evolve. My knowledge as a VA trainer now has gone in leaps and bounds compared to when I started. I was still pushing out successful virtual assistants back when I started, many of whom have chosen to still be in business. Some have diversified, some done other things because it's been a long time. But what I know now is massive, and I still managed to run a successful business back then. We evolve over time. Thinking about your clients' pain points can be really hard when you're first starting out in business. And it can be really easy for you to try to sell your services as saving somebody time and money. But there's so much more to it. And as your business grows and you get to speak to more people, more clients, and you do more things, so will your knowledge and so will your understanding of what clients need and the massive difference that you bring to people. And you don't need to know all of that yet. My first logo, I actually love my first logo still, but my logo now I love even more. Things they evolve. You just got to do what's needed and get yourself out there. So undoubtedly, you need to register with the ICO for GDPR. You need insurance and contracts, not mandatory, as I've said in other podcasts, but more for you if you don't get them. And also, if you've got insurance and no contracts, your insurance might be invalid. As you know, you need a website, you need a LinkedIn presence, you need a social media presence, and go and do it. Now, another thing, right? And this can happen a lot. It can be accidental, but promoting to the wrong audience. I've seen it on LinkedIn quite a bit, but people put posts out like, this is how my life is different now I'm a VA. Able to pick the kids up from school, able to go to choir practice, able to look after my husband when he was suffering with a broken fingernail or, anything. I mean, that would sound more like an advert for people who want to be a VA. So just go careful with that. Yeah, just think about who you're sending your marketing out to. What is it? 12 things I've listed here. If you go back, maybe listen again. Actually, shall I do bullet points, right? So that you can just write them down. So inconsistent marketing, no audience building, poor quality marketing, jumping into discovery calls too soon, no website, no opportunities for know, like and trust factor, hiding behind professional branding, treating it like a job, not a business, pricing from fear and not value, waiting for perfection before starting, and self-promoting to the wrong audience. And I also did mention your onboarding process and about engaging with people as well. So we probably did 13, 14, 24. Who knows? Well, I hope that was useful. I did ask people for ideas for future podcasts, and I have got, let's have a look. Where's me podcast thingy? Okay. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5. One's kind of like the same, actually. I'm going to put them together. Yeah. So I've got 5 more already on my list to record. Wow. I'm going to be busy. Okay, so I hope that's been useful. And as always, thank you for listening. Do you know, we've had about, I don't know how many downloads, loads. Last time I looked, it was about 16,000 downloads. That's just crazy, absolutely crazy. Right, I will see you on the next episode. If you're going on holiday, have a nice holiday. If you're ready to reclaim your independence, then subscribe to this podcast because there is so much I'm going to give you. You've got to subscribe on your favourite channel, it says. What channel? I ain't going to be on the BBC, am I?